Board, we are live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Board. Today is June 1st. Carol, would you please read the roll call?
Present.
Present. Present. Sorry.
Present.
Present. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today, we have 11 public hearings. That'll be followed by a public portion where any member of the public may address the board on any topic. We ask that you please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And then there are a number of resolutions board members have to, okay, I guess we're actually back to 10. We had one of these hearings is going to be pulled. But then we'll have resolutions to be offered. But from time to time, the board has the honor and privilege of recognizing members of our community who make contributions that are substantial. And I'm going to present a proclamation at this time. I better get my glasses because I didn't bring the orange printed version. Whereas Tim Garneau has been an East Hampton Town resident for 22 years, residing in Northwest Woods with his wife and his children, 3 of them. Whereas Tim Garneau is an East Hampton Town trustee who's committed endless hours to the community, both in his capacity as trustee and as a volunteer for several organizations, including the PTA, Go on a Boat Puppet Theater, the East Hampton Town Anti-Bias Task Force, the Surf Rider Foundation, Citizens for Access Rights, also known as CFAR, Concerned Citizens of Montauk, CCOM, Aquabonic Protection Committee, and a Walk on Water, an organization that provides surf therapy for children and adults with special needs. And whereas baseball has always been a major component of Tim's life, he began coaching his younger brother's team at the age of 15 and is responsible for creating a club baseball team for the students at his college when he learned that there was no JV team. And whereas in 2018, the Ball Fields Relocation Committee was formed to oversee the process relocating the fields at Panago Place to accommodate a freestanding emergency medical facility. And in his role as the committee chair, Tim Garneau led an in-depth process to identify the best new location, spending countless hours researching ball field design, new technologies, and visiting other facilities throughout the region in order to develop world-class fields for the residents of East Hampton Town. And whereas in 2020, after a consensus building and public outreach, the committee recommended that the fields be located at Stephen Hans Path Recreational Facility and continued to oversee the design and construction of the facilities until the opening ceremony in April 2023. Whereas Tim Garneau's leadership and contributions have benefited the community and will continue to do so for years to come, therefore be it proclaimed that East Hampton recognizes and thanks Tim Garneau for his years of dedication and service to the residents of our town. Tim, please come up.
Thank you, Tim.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Tim.
Good job.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Couple words, Tim.
Yeah, Tim words.
Couple words.
At the podium, so we can hear.
Briefly, I just want to thank everyone been involved from top to bottom. Kathy from the beginning, picking me out of the crowd to anoint me the chairman, and David seeing it all the way through, and of course Peter's leadership, and Kate and Sylvia as well. I just appreciate all the support on this project, talking about the ball fields, and everyone that was part of our committee. That put in 2-3, it ended up being 5 years, but I just want to thank everyone involved because it's truly a successful project. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Before we get started with the public hearings, we also have our town historian, Hugh King, here. And, I'm going to come back to the podium and grab my glasses.
You can't hear without them?
What's that?
Who's this guy? Is this guy new here?
Oh.
I'm wrong. Hi, you can. Okay. All right, I'm going to be really short today because there are more people who know more about one of the hearings than I do. First of all, you're going to be talking about June 10th today at the gala opening here that will be at Town Hall. Ann Bell sent out a beautiful program of all the attendees and people who are going to be involved. Also that night at 6 o'clock, there's going to be a program about the Nazi saboteur landing at the Amagansett Life Station and Coast Guard Station. That will be at 6 o'clock. Okay. As you know, the Parsons family is big time in Springs. One of the first Parsons, of course, was down at Fireplace. L. Nathan Parsons married a Urana Domini. Ambrose Parsons at the Parson Anderson House. David Diamond Parsons had the Springs General Store built. His son, Jehail Parsons, was a supervisor of East Santon and the postmaster. And of course, Charles Silas Parsons, the blacksmith shop. And now we come to Julius Parsons. There's a great picture of Julius Parsons coming into the land that you're going to be talking about today with a cow. And in the background, you see part of the church and Ashwa Hall. Julius Parsons was a student at Clinton Academy. He was born down at Fireplace. He ran a grocery store and he was a farmer. His daughter married Merton Edwards. Now, who was Merton Edwards? Merton Edwards was a justice of the peace, but he also was on the town board. How could that be? Because years ago, the town board was made up of the supervisor and 4 justices of the peace. He was a fisherman his whole life. He ran for supervisor, Merton Edwards, in 1929, and he spoke in 1948 at the clam bake for the 300th anniversary down at Fireplace. His daughter, Mary Louise, married Carter Dodge from New Jersey. What was Carter Dodge doing out here? Down at Fireplace, there was a camp for boys and girls, and it was for students or children from New Jersey, not from East Hampton, okay? And Carter Dodge swam across from Fireplace to Gardiner's Island.
Wow.
And broke a record. And the record was held by Ozzie Nelson, who was apparently a counselor out here too. That's all I have to say. You're going to have plenty of other people tell you what a great idea it is, of course, to purchase this place. I'm out of here.
Thank you very much, Hugh. And that brings us to our very first public hearing.
Mr. Supervisor, I would like to make a motion to combine public hearings number 1 and number 2.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Carol, if you'd please read the hearing notices and the COVID disclaimer.
The public hearings will be held live and in person by the town board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing and will be televised on local TV channel 22 and available for live stream on the LTV website. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person or by agent, by attorney, or by teleconference to the live meeting, or by written comment addressed to the East Hampton Town Clerk, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton. Comments may also be submitted to the town clerk by email to cbrennan@ehamptonny.gov. All comments must be received by the town clerk by the date and time of the public hearing. Please check the meeting agenda posted on the town's website for any changes or for updated information. Take notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on June 1st at 2 p.m. Town Board Meeting Room, Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard on a proposed local law providing for the adoption of a revised community preservation project plan pursuant to Section 64E of the New York Town Law, which provides for the preservation of open space, historic places, and recreational areas within the town of East Hampton Hampton, including the incorporated villages therein, to include approximately 0.97 acres of land located at 334 Old Stone Highway in Springs, reputedly owned by Judith S. DeMello and identified on the Suffolk County tax map as 383,526.1. Take notice that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing in the Town Board Meeting Room, East Hampton Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, pursuant to Section 247 of the General Municipal Law and Section 64E8 of the Town Law of the State of New York on June 1st at 2 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard, to consider the following: the town's acquisition for the preservation of open space with community preservation funds of a property located at 334 Old Stone Highway in Springs, reputedly owned by Judith S. DeMello and consisting of approximately 0.97 acres of developed land with a residence and an outbuilding at a cost to the town of East Hampton not to exceed $1,015,000 plus reasonable survey, title, prorated tax, and recording charges, said property being described on the Suffolk County tax map as 383,526.1, an amendment to the 2023 CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include said property.
Thank you, Carol. We have Scott Wilson, our Director of Land Acquisition, here to give a brief overview.
Good afternoon. So the property we're talking about is outlined in blue on the screen. It's sort of at Old Stone Highway, the intersection of Old Stone and Louse Point Road. This is a developed property. It's in close proximity to Accabonock Harbor, where the town has made significant effort in the preservation of sensitive marsh, wetlands, and open space. This parcel contains a house and associated structures. As part of the potential acquisition, the structures will be removed at the seller's expense, returning the parcel back to its natural state prior to the town taking possession. This property is impacted by wetlands with a low depth of groundwater, which is evident when you drive down the adjacent intersection after a heavy rain through a flooded road. Any redevelopment of this property would exacerbate this issue. Therefore, returning the property to green space would not only give greater protection of water quality, but will also help with attenuation of flooding and runoff in such close proximity to the harbor. This property meets the criteria set forth in Town Law 64E. I would ask the board to pass a resolution to add this property to the CPF project plan and one to acquire.
Thank you, Scott. I have a sign-up sheet. We have one person signed up, and then I'll take by show of hands anyone else who would like to address the board on this topic. Laureen Bolter.
Good afternoon. I'd like to express my unbridled enthusiasm for this acquisition. It's true, it's next to the marshlands, and it's right there on the corner of Louse Point Road and Old Stone Highway. And even aesthetically and visually, to have that as open space is going to be a wonderful thing for everybody in Springs. And as long as I'm up here, if you don't mind, I want to also express unbridled enthusiasm for the acquisition of the Dodge property. Again, another very important Springs property that the entire community is behind. Unfortunately, we have not had a CAC meeting after your announcement that you were going to try to acquire it and before this date. But everyone I've spoken to is certainly in favor of this. I want to thank Scott Wilson for sticking with this property. It's been around for a while, and it's gone, you know, it's kind of like bite your nails, you know, is this going to be possible or not? And I'm thrilled that it is possible. And I want to thank the board for your good thinking in acquiring it. Thanks.
Thank you, Laureen. Anyone else wish to address the board on this particular public hearing? Yes, Alice, you just come to the podium and state your name for the record.
Alice Tepper Marlin. I'd like to add my unbridled enthusiasm to Loring's. We live 3 houses down from the Dodge property, and it was Mary Louise Is this the
Just to be
proper
clear,
time to talk about
this
this?
is not the hearing for the Dodge property. So if you want to go on the record for that,
Oh, no, I'll wait.
this is the DeMello property.
So I
It's
I
quite
knew
all right.
that, but Loring
She mixed the two
talked
as
about
well.
it and
so.
mixed them in, so I thought you were inviting me. I'll wait.
Anyone else wish to address the board on this public hearing? I'll entertain a motion.
Anyone want?
Oh,
we
I have callers on the line. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Forgot about that.
Let me go and unmute the first caller and see if they wish to talk about this. 1 second. Oh, there you are. Hello, caller ending 5000. You are on the air.
Does the caller wish to address the town board on the DeMello hearing?
I can hear the TV in the background, but I think they're away from their phone probably. I'm just going to go to the next caller. Hello, caller ending 0198. You're on the air. Hello. Hello, caller ending 0198. You are on the air. Hello. Nothing yet. Next caller. Hello, caller ending 4068. You're on the air. Hello.
I was calling to express my support of the Dodge property and the water quality, so I'll wait.
Understood.
Okay, if you just please stay on the line until we get to that public hearing, be happy to hear from you at that point.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all of our callers so far. 2 are unresponsive, and the last one is for the Dodge property. I'll have that marked down, and there you go.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed, carried. Carol, if you read the next public hearing notice, please.
Make notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing in the town board meeting room, East Hampton Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, pursuant to section 247 of the general municipal law and section 64E8 of the town law of the state of New York on June 1st at 2 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard to consider the following. The town's acquisition for the preservation of open space with community preservation funds of a property located at 167 South Fairview Avenue in Montauk, reputedly owned by William Hahn and consisting of approximately 0.6 acres of vacant land at a cost to the town of East Hampton not to exceed $490,000 plus reasonable survey, title, prorated tax and recording charges. Said property being described on the Suffolk County tax map as 328-629.4, an amendment to the 2023 CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include said property.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to recuse from this public hearing.
Understood. Carol, if you make a note of that. We have, again, Scott Wilson, give us a brief overview of this property.
Sure. So again, the property we're talking about is outlined in blue on your screen. You can note the adjacent properties in green were previously acquired by community preservation funds. And one of the goals of our open space program is actually to expand on the town's existing holdings, particularly for environmentally sensitive lands, which this is. In review of the planning department's property assessment, I want to note the following. The wetlands to the west consist of a significant freshwater marsh connected to a substantial permanent pond fed by a seasonal stream. The wetlands contain a high diversity of plant species and provide significant floodwater attenuation benefits in addition to high habitat value. The significance of the wetland on the property and its location within the Lake Montauk watershed makes the property a strong candidate for public acquisition. That said, this property in 2011 had previously received wetland setback variances for a 2,000 square foot residence with a 1,000 square foot footprint. Development of this property would have a negative impact on the wetlands and wetland-dependent species. This parcel meets the criteria set forth in Town Law 64E. I would ask the board to pass a resolution to acquire.
Thank you, Scott. We don't have anyone signed up. Is there anyone in the room who'd like to address the board on this matter? Jason, do we have any callers who wish to address the board on the Hahn public hearing?
I will unmute them right now to see if they wish to. Hello, caller ending 5000. You are on the air. Hello.
we have the unit price?
No, I'm gonna up that to, I'm gonna up that to the contract was like 68 for the other peonies that we took out, so.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I can't understand you. Can you speak into the microphone?
They're having another conversation in the background.
Understood. Yes, they are, probably.
Yeah, I thought about the Dow Jones. I don't know.
And unmute. Unmuting next caller.
Buy, sell, buy.
Hello, caller ending 0198. You're on the air. Hello. One more time. Hello, caller ending 0198. You're on the air. By the way, you don't have to mute your own phone. If you hypothetically did, it's muted on our end, and we unmute it and accordingly. Are you there? No? Okay. And then we have the other person who wanted to speak on the Dodge property. That's about it.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Carol, if you'd read the next public hearing notice, please.
Take notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton hold a public hearing in the town board meeting room, East Hampton Town Hall, 159 Pinnacle Road, East Hampton, pursuant to section 247 of the general municipal law and section 64E8 of the town law of the state of New York on June 1st at 2 p.m. or as soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard to consider the following. The town's acquisition for the preservation of historic property, open space, agricultural land, and recreation with community preservation funds for a property located at 803 and 807 Fireplace Road in Springs, reputedly owned by Dodge Realty LLC number 1 and 2, and consisting of approximately 10.9 acres of primarily vacant land that includes the Julius D. Parsons Homestead and Family Cemetery at a cost to the town of East Hampton not to exceed $5 million, plus reasonable survey, title, prorated tax, and recording charges. Said property being described on the Suffolk County tax map as 363, 4, 5, 4, 3, and 2, an amendment to the 2023 CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include said property.
Thank you, Carol. Again, we have Scott Wilson from.
Sure, just a couple
Any
comments. I know
acquisition?
there's lots of people in the audience that want to speak on this. Change it up a little. The property is actually outlined in red on your aerial. This aerial being from 1930. These parcels comprise the Julius D. Parsons Homestead and are within the Springs Historic District. And as you can see, I'm just going to scroll through 3 different views over time, just to note the incredible change in land use over time. So just quickly, one more time. This is actually one of the reasons to embrace those last vestiges of our agrarian and cultural past. And I just want to read a quick note from Mr. Heffner's report. The homestead containing the 1880 main house and barn and the purported Henry Mitchell home that was moved to this property, along with the family cemetery and significant farm acreage, make this an exceptional property for recalling the agrarian history of Springs. This property possesses special character, historic and aesthetic interest and value as part of the cultural, economic, and social history of East Hampton, and embodies the distinguishing characteristics of building types, periods, and methods of construction. We always appreciate Mr. Heffner's reports. He does an excellent job. Thank you, Bob. While there is not yet a definitive plan for the end use of this property, you may note the purpose for acquisition on this resolution: the preservation of historic property, open space, agricultural lands, and recreation. With a primary focus on the restoration and celebration of the structures, this property is suited and sized to fit various community needs, including education, farming, cultural activities, and some limited recreation. And we look forward to working with an appropriate user group or groups to that end. These parcels certainly meet the criteria set forth in Town Law 64E, and I would ask the board to pass a resolution to acquire.
Thank you, Scott. I have 2 speakers signed up. Again, if you raise your hand, I will recognize you to speak afterwards. But first up is Prudence Carabine.
Thank you. My name is Prudence Talmadge Hamilton Carabine, and I do that because of the THC, which I'm getting teased about all the time. Don't ask me why. I don't know. In any case, I would like to report that Governor Hochul will have the opportunity to recognize the Montaukets again very soon, as the Assembly and the legislature in New York State has passed another bill asking for the recognition of the Montaukets. And I know we all care that they will eventually be recognized again sooner rather than later. I want to thank you very much for the purchase of this property. I know this has been on everybody's mind, certainly my mind, for the last year, as I worked in the blacksmith shop and other things in Springs. Both my grandfather, Ferris Talmadge, was born on Old Stone Highway at Willow Hill, and my grandmother, who was his cousin on my father's side, was Natalie Bennett Hamilton. I always thought it was so funny that I had a grandpa and a grandma on two different sides who were distant cousins. But hello, that's what East Hampton is about. So my hope for this land is that the home will be updated just enough to be secure, tight, and waterproof. Maybe asking too much, I don't know, but at least water resistant, and that home be used to celebrate Mary Louise Dodge's memorial of Springs, growing up in Springs as a Parsons and an Edwards. And there are three aspects of Springs that I don't believe we've ever gone into. One is the relationship from the Gardner family to the Montaukets and the early Bonnickers, because this was the great experiment's start. Gardner paved the way with the Montaukets for the Bonnickers to have a pleasant and wonderful lifestyle in Springs, so pleasant that many of them never wanted to leave. And we all understand what Springs is about. It is heaven on earth in so many ways. The Montaukets spent the winter in Springs. The Bonnickers settled there early in the 1680s, 1690s, which is when my grandfather's family home was built. And of course, the Gardners were in perpetuity the diplomatic and employer diplomatic tie between the Bonnickers and the Montaukets and the employer to everybody. Those boats went back and forth from Gardner's Island every day, and I had a great-grandmother who stood at the window in Willow Hill and watched her husband row back for dinner, so she knew when to put the dinner on the table when he left the island. So these are things that some people may think of as crazy, but this is what I grew up knowing about and loving. So the house is also a perfect place for an affordable apartment on the second story. There are 3 bedrooms and a bathroom on the second story. I've spoken with Fred Thiel about the possibility of making the second story a bathroom for an affordable housing man or woman or couple who could live on the property and provide maintenance and on-site management, but also work off the property if they so chose to do that. And he thinks that that's something that possibly CPF could pay to put a kitchen up there. So that's something to think about. The barn, as we know, needs a little work. Ron Bush has taken a look at it, but he said, this is where I want my tools to go. So his feeling, as Carter and Cleon have said to me independently, would be to use that barn. That's a beautiful, beautiful barn. We may need a second one down the road, but the first barn is fine the way it is. It's a lovely barn, and it's already almost set to receive some amazing agricultural tools, the biggest collection in the United States of America, owned by Ron Bush. So finally, the Mitchell Cottage. The Mitchell Cottage is very, very significant to this property because of the Native American Montaukett link. The Mitchell Cottage, which I understand Carter used to fix his father's boat repeatedly, is perfect as a library for the entire property. a place for books, for magazines, for articles, for pictures, for people to come together and study what Springs is all about. So I think my view covers almost everything except the last 9 acres, which I see as an amazing place for Springs people and others to walk, to see birds, to feel what it was like to be in a place which is almost aboriginal. I'm very, very excited about this project. I think you all understand that. I already have board members ask me when the first meeting is, and I have money that will be forthcoming. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Prudence. Alice Tepper Marlin.
Well, in contrast, I'm a newbie here. My family didn't grow up here. I've been here only since 1981, but that's a fair number of years. And my introduction to the neighborhood came largely from the Collins family and from Mary Louise Dodge, who introduced us to the informal neighborhood agreement that all of us kept all of our properties completely organic, no pesticides, tremendous respect for the environment. She took me around the house the first year I was there and showed me some amazing Civil War mementos that I hope and believe also might come to the town through Carter. So I'm very much in favor of this proposed acquisition, both on historic and also on environmental grounds. It's almost opposite where the farmers market is. And the farmers market in Springs, we think it's the best one in the whole town. We have music and people come there not just to shop, but for the community and to learn about Springs, and to have this land and the buildings preserved and available for people to learn more about our local history and appreciate the environmental care which everyone in that neighborhood uses, I think would be a tremendous asset to the town and to Springs. As many of you know, Mary Louise was widowed at a young age and raised Carter and Cleon on her own there. She was an absolutely lovely and wonderful lady. She was old enough to have gone to the local school when Oshawa Hall was a school. And she taught us all about a great deal of the local history. The idea that someone has written a letter saying that the price is too high to pay for this property. We were astounded to read that. It seems an enormously reasonable amount of money. But one of the points was that all of that acquisition would be preserved anyway because it's in the historic district. But the historic district doesn't go all the way back through the rest of the property. So we could have some very modern McMansions built in the beautiful historic rural agricultural neighborhood. And so I endorse and welcome protection not only of the house, but of the whole property, as would the large herd of deer that live in the beautiful forest behind the Dodges' home. So I want to thank the town and endorse this proposed acquisition.
Thank you, Alice. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am. If you'd just please state your name for the record.
My name is Sue Ellen O'Connor, and my mother, Norma Edwards, was the first cousin of Mary Louise Parsons Dodge, and my mother was the 10th generation of the Edwards family to live in Springs. I'll keep this brief since people have covered quite a bit of this, but my mother fought to preserve the oldest house in Springs, which was in Fireplace in Hog Creek, and that was demolished. And also the Edwards and the Miller homesteads have been lost through the years. So through Tony Prohaska's Homes History Project interviews, which are at the Long Island Room, Andrea Meyer procured for me, there's an interview with Mary Louise Dodge when she was 83 in 1998, and my mother was present and assisted her in that interview. And everything you've said today are the facts of the house, but this interview covered the heart of the house. And I'm just going to mention a couple short stories. I'll stay within my 3 minutes. She was born in the upstairs bedroom where her grandparents and parents died. She tells of her grandfather, Parsons, who built the house after starting the general store and the local post office. Her father, Merton Edwards, watched from the porch of the house when he was 72 after the hurricane of 38 to see if his boats returned, since so many Springs fishermen were lost in that hurricane. And the next day he saw his boats coming back, and they had been, his head seamen there had brought them behind Gardiner's Island. They left very early in the morning, and they procured in tightly behind Gardiner's Island, tucked in, and came all home safely. The pit that's still in the field was used to store fish that her father cut from Accabonac Creek with a horse and wagon. And the catch of the fish was stored there and then shipped to New York City, as well as to provide for their icebox. Her father, as Hugh King mentioned, was Justice of the Peace from 1915 to 1943. And she remembered the hearings in their kitchen. They didn't have a town hall then. And she said her mother was a meticulous housekeeper and didn't want mud tracked through the kitchen, through the house, so all hearings were held in the kitchen. And her father sat between the kitchen and the living room to have the hearings. And one night, she said, there were 17 scallopers lined up outside that house because there was a discrepancy in the beginning day of scalloping season that year between the town and the state. And then one more story from the interview, and I will give you a copy of the interview because it's all about the house. One night, Jackson Pollock arrived at their doorstep and demanded to see Justice Edwards at 10 o'clock at night at the house. Justice of the Peace, Merton Edwards, came down in his bathrobe, told him he was retired, and said to go call Justice Skellinger. But Pollock said no, he had a problem. He just bought a house in Springs, and he had all the furniture in his truck, and he was going to a house with no heat or electricity, and he had no key, and the house was locked. So Justice Merton Edwards got a skeleton key, which they kept in the back porch at the Dodge house, and that opened just about every house in Springs. And he handed it to Jackson Pollock, who walked outside and proceeded to drop it in the driveway, and then walked back into the house and fell asleep on the chair, at which point Mary Louise was awakened and her mother, and they went out in the yard and found the key. And Mary Louise said to me, and also said in this interview, I never had much use for Pollock after that. So I would love to see the heritage of this house shared, the ice pit restored, the place where they tarred and repaired the nets in the back and pulled in the Sharpies. Springs was a home of many small farms. The plot might lend itself for organic farming in the back. So in memory of my mother, Norma Edwards, who died at 98 and a half in November, I thank you for considering this acquisition. She would have wanted her Uncle Mert's home protected.
Thank you so much, Sue Ellen, for sharing that wonderful history with us. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board? Yes, David.
Good afternoon, David Buda from the Springs. Notice I'm wearing my hat. As a strong supporter of maintaining the rich history and character of the Springs Historic District that was thankfully created by the town in 2004, I was excited to hear about the town's plan to acquire the historic farmhouse and barn located at 803 Fireplace Road and the adjacent vacant former farm field at 807 Fireplace Road. Included are small properties in between, the small, about 1,300 square foot Edwards Family Cemetery and a narrow 40-foot path leading to the cemetery from the roadway. Note the real estate listing for the subject properties appear to exclude the cemetery and its access path, so I have to wonder if the sellers actually have clear title to convey this to the town. Although this $5 million project is obviously quite significant to the Springs community and to those who think $5 million is still a lot of money to pay for real estate. It only came into the public light 2 weeks ago. Although apparently it's been cooking behind closed doors for more than a year. 2 weeks ago, when the public hearing was scheduled, is the first time that anyone from the public actually learned any of the specifics. That time was just enough for me to use the FOIL provisions, Freedom of Information Law, to obtain access to pertinent documents. The conditional contract, the appraisal report, the Historic Preservation Consultant's report, and the Town Planning Department's evaluation form. It's just incredible to me that in connection with a proposed $5 million expenditure, that the town's transparency practices do not include the general dissemination and publication of any of these materials to the general public in advance of the public hearing. Could I be the only one who's interested in knowing the details of a $5 million expenditure?
Is that a rhetorical question?
You're on fire today, Supervisor. So, I also asked a second FOIL request, to which I have not gotten a response. I asked for any report, proposal, plan, memoranda, or other form of written communication setting forth the town's planned proposed future uses of the subject properties if acquired by the town using CPF funds for purposes of preservation of historic property, open space, agricultural lands, and recreation. No such actual concrete plans apparently have been formulated, although we heard today some suggestions, and there are many suggestions. I could suggest that the vacant property be used as an expansion of the very successful Springs Farmers Market. But what is not appropriate, I think, is for the town to proceed willy-nilly, acquire property, and then figure out what to do with it. I don't think that's a smart, prudent way to proceed, even though there are many good uses for maintaining this. Now, we have a historic district. Nothing can be built within a historic district that doesn't preserve the nature and character of the Springs history and the facades of any future building, if it were to be built on that vacant parcel, the vacant former farmland, which is 807 Springs Fireplace Road or Fireplace Road, would have to actually look like it was dropped in from the 1880s, which is kind of hard to do. We have actually one thing that I have to ask you to be very conscious of, and Mr. Connolly, this may be your first difficult decision to make. If you look at the law concerning Springs, the use of CPF funds, you obviously have to have a project plan that specifies the proposed expenditures. What does the current project plan say about the two significant lots at issue? 803 Fireplace Road, the project plan at present, and notice we did not have today a hearing to amend the project plan. The project plan as it stands states that the only town interest to use CPF funds is for the purchase of development rights and to protect historic setting facade easement. Well, obviously that would achieve CPF purposes, but that's not what you're proposing to do. You're proposing to purchase all the parcels outright in fee simple. What does the project plan as it stands say with regard to 807 Fireplace Road, which is the vacant parcel? Obtain an agricultural easement adjoining Fireplace Road, coordinate future access with lot to the north. I believe that the CPF law requires you to, at a minimum, propose an amendment to the project plan, spelling out what your intentions are. If they are to acquire the properties at a cost of $5 million, you need to have that in hand in the project plan before you can act. Now, I looked at the appraisal. I have to say, first of all, any appraiser that starts off their description of the neighborhood as follows is one that I'm reluctant to criticize severely. The subject neighborhood is known as The Springs. So right away, I'm in her corner. However, what the appraiser has done And bear in mind, the adjacent farm historic property was sold not too long ago for $2.5 million, comparable in size, structure, a little smaller in area. What the appraiser has done is made an assumption that the property can be subdivided into 3 separate parcels. And I don't know that there certainly has not been a subdivision application. There certainly hasn't been a careful study as to the viability of such a subdivision. The actual primary structure, the 803, the farmhouse, the barn, the historic little shed, all of that she evaluated as $1.9 million value a year ago when the appraisal was done. But by adding the notion of a successful subdivision of this property, which has an A5 zoning, 5-acre minimum zoning, to me, it's an assumption that really may not be appropriate to make, to add in a tremendous value for a future proposed agricultural reserve in the rear, $790,000, and a vacant lot, part of 803, of $1.3 million. Anyway, the appraiser came up about a year ago with a number that was $4.8 million. Well, I watched the market too, maybe not as closely and as carefully as a licensed appraiser, but the market hit its peak last summer, June, July. It's been coming down slightly, slowly, 5%, 10% since then. But in March of this year, the appraiser issued a naked letter saying, okay, I recognize that there should be a 6% appreciation factor per year added, and I'm going to bump up my appraisal from 4.8 million to 5 million. Meanwhile, I think generally it's recognized that the market has peaked after COVID and has come slightly downward. So what I would like you to do, bear in mind, I'm a strong supporter of preserving the historic district, maintaining it, using it appropriately, finding ways to benefit the community. The last thing that anyone would want would be anything that would violate the purposes and tenor of the restrictions and guidelines of the historic district. However, money is important too. The town should perhaps take a step back, develop its plans. This property is not going to go anywhere. It was listed for $6 million. It's now being offered for $5 million to you. Modify the project plan, develop your plans, figure out what uses are appropriate. A lot of money is going to have to be spent. The appraisal takes note of the fact that the basement often has standing water due to 3 freshwater springs. So plan on how much money is going to be needed to preserve this property. How is it going to be managed? Who's going to manage it? Who's going to live there? Who's going to restore the barn? Who's going to restore the house? What's the total project been? Now, in one sense, I look at Montauk and say, gee,
I'm just going to ask you to try and
Finish
wrap
up.
up. You've had much more than 3 minutes now.
right, but you realize it's a public hearing, not public commentary.
It's the same.
It's not.
It is the same.
It's not.
Thank you.
Legally, it's not.
David, I'm sorry.
It's not.
That's not
I'll
right.
stand by that.
All right, so you're going to continue to stand here?
No, I'm going to continue
Okay.
to wrap up.
Thank you. Please wrap up.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Now I have to stand there.
Good.
Uh,
I think we've heard your points.
What I'm saying is that you need to
Summarize,
You need
please.
to go into this with a little bit more care and attention to value and what the future
Thank you for
uses
your
were.
opinion. I think the board has exhibited a great deal of care, and I think we have a great deal of public support here today for this. And by the way, what you talk about is a management plan that's traditionally done after acquisition of property. Thank you very much.
That's all I have to say. Again, it's a good purchase, but perhaps it's an exorbitant purchase that should be looked at a little more carefully, and it should be in line with what the CPF project plan
We
suggests.
will
and
take a look
requires.
at that project plan
What?
issue. We'll take a look at the project plan issue that you raised.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to address the board on this topic?
I think there was a caller.
Do we have any callers on the line for the Dodge property acquisition hearing?
I believe that we do. Let me just make sure. Hello, caller ending 4068. Are you still there?
I'm still here. This is Steve Long. I'm calling from the East Hampton Historical Society. I just wanted to express my support for the project. I've been inside the house I think everybody has so done a great job in characterizing its importance, and I just think it's wonderful to have the town preserve it. Grateful for the effort. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. Jason, any other callers?
I will unmute the other callers right now and see if they wish to speak on this.
Because otherwise.
Hello, caller ending 0198. You're on the air. Hello? Hello, caller ending 0198. You are on the air.
You could probably keep the number smaller and just like.
Oh, okay, I'm going on to the next number. Hello, caller ending 5000. You are on the air.
Yeah, hi. My name is Charlie Martyr, and everybody's spoken so eloquently about the property historically. I can only speak to my history is I know it firsthand, which is telling. But when I was a young boy, we used to hunt pheasants, quail, and rabbits back there, and the rear of the property was always open farm field with natural hedgerows and managed that way. And my hope in terms of the town use would be that they would restore it to that and not continue to allow the invasive species mixed with some native species go through a natural reforestation. I think the farmland is far more valuable than second growth, which has taken over in the last 35 years. That would be my comments on this property. That just again to put it into agricultural use as it had been managed from 1900 through probably 1960, sometime through there. But all the best, and thanks for participating in this acquisition.
Thank you, Charlie, for taking the time to call in today. Do we have any other callers?
Yeah, that's it.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Carol, if you read the next public hearing notice, please.
Take notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing pursuant to section 247 of the general municipal law of the state of New York on Thursday, June 1st, 2 p.m. in the main meeting room, Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard regarding local law amending chapter 255 zoning of the East Hampton Town Code at Article 12 Use District Zoning Map and Article 13 Table of Historic Landmarks and Historic Districts in order to designate certain land and structures located on 803 and 807 Fireplace Road as the Julius D. Parsons Homestead Historic Landmark, which property is now in contract with the town of East Hampton and being described on the Suffolk County tax map as 363, 4, 5, 4, 3, and 2.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board on this public hearing? Do we have any callers on the line who wish to address this public hearing for the Julius D. Parsons Homestead Historic Landmark designation?
I'll unmute the only caller that was unresponsive right now and try that one more time.
Are you speaking?
Hello, caller ending 0198. You're on the air. Hello? Yeah, this caller is still unresponsive, and the other person had already spoken, but I'll unmute them again and see if they wish to speak on this one as well.
Thank you, Jason.
Hello, caller ending 4068. You were on the air again, as we just wanted to see if you wanted to speak on this matter.
Mr. Buda, would you like to address the board on this topic?
Yes, with regard to this historic designation proposal, it's my understanding that the creation of the historic district supersedes this and makes this unnecessary. I've been struggling to understand how this adds anything to the historic protection or value or uses of the property. The same person who prepared the report that you're relying on prepared the historic district designation report. It's in the historic district. I don't think that the historic district, which currently extends about 300 and some odd feet from the roadway and includes all of the structures, I don't know that it's appropriate to make the entirety of the property part of the historic district. Is that what you would be doing? Could someone just explain to me what would be the legal effect of this designation above and beyond the existing historic district designation, which obviously I agree with and obviously is appropriate. I just don't understand why this is necessary, appropriate, or accomplishes anything.
I suspect, David, it relates to the fact that once the structure itself has a historic landmark designation, that it would be eligible for various grants or other types of protections.
And I'm just suggesting that the historic district creation already solves that, establishes that, and that this
Appreciate
doesn't,
your
this
opinion.
is like belts and suspenders, at least unless someone
Some
explain-
people need suspenders, David.
Are you talking for yourself or for myself? Thank you.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Carol, if you read the next public hearing notice.
Take notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing pursuant to 64E6 and 112.4 of the town law of the state of New York on June 1st at 2 PM in the town board meeting room, East Hampton Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, New York, or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard, to consider the following: awarding of grant funding for 6 water quality improvement projects.
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Project sponsor Ditch Plains Cottages LLC. It's the installation of an innovative alternative sanitary system to upgrade the existing failed septic system serving the 630 GPD flow at the Ditch Plains Cottages in Montauk. It's a wastewater treatment improvement. The funding award is $42,689. Second project, East Hampton Historical Society. Installation of innovative alternative sanitary system to upgrade the existing failed septic system serving the 618 GPD flow at the Clinton Academy in the village of East Hampton. It's a wastewater treatment improvement for $65,000. Village of Sag Harbor, installation of phase 2 of the sewer shed L project to install parcels connecting from in street to home piping to convey 12,562 GPT of sanitary wastewater from 33 properties in East Hampton to the existing village of Sag Harbor sewage treatment facility. It's wastewater treatment improvement, $645,836. Cornell Cooperative Extension, Phase 2 of a multi-phase project to reduce groundwater nitrogen inputs to Hog Creek utilizing permeable reactive barriers and microalgae bioextraction techniques. It's a non-point source pollution abatement of $111,843. Cornell Cooperative Extension Springs General Store ammonium plume remediation with a multi-phase permeable reactive barrier pilot. Finding request is for phases 3 and 4 and will include long-term monitoring out to 5 years with annual review by the town and the CPF Water Quality Committee for renewal. It's a non-point source pollution abatement, $341,655 with a condition long-term monitoring to be reviewed by the committee annually to justify continued monitoring into the next annual cycle. The New York State Center for Clean Water Technology, nitrogen reducing wood chip biofilter polishing units as add-ons to 8 innovative alternative septic systems, water treatment improvement, $113,869 with the condition each individual property subject to polishing unit install is to be reviewed by the committee and approved by the town board via resolution.
Thank you, Carol. Melissa, did you want to give a brief overview? I understand that the hearing notice is pretty extensive.
Yeah, I just wanted to be here in case there are any questions or if additional details needed on any of the projects. And if anybody on the call
Right.
has anything to say.
Thank you. There are no members of the public left in the room who outside of the press. So are there any callers on the line, Jason?
We still have 2 callers hanging out on the line. I'm just going to go double check.
Thank you.
Hello, caller ending 0198. Would you like to speak on this topic? Nope, no response. Oh my God, they were there. Sorry. Hello, caller 0198. You're here. How are you? You're on the air.
Good. Well, we're part of the team proposing. We're here for if there's any other questions technically that people have. So my colleague, Molly Graffam, and I'm Ron Paul.
Yes, Ron, there are no members of the public here. We'll go to the phone lines to see if any other members of the public might be on the line. Thank you.
All right, and I'm unmuting one of our other callers. Hello, caller ending 4068. You were on the air. Would you like to speak on this?
Yes, it's Steve Long calling again from the East Hampton Historical Society. Very grateful to the town for supporting our project. We have a sanitary system that has terracotta pipes, so you can imagine how old it is. So
it's very historic.
A new,
Yeah, too historic.
it probably dates from when the building was converted from Clinton Hall back to Clinton Academy in 1921. So 100 years later, thrilled to have a new state-of-the-art system. So thank you very much for making that possible.
Thank you, Steve. Jason, any other callers?
We have no other callers on the line.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass carried. Carol, if you'd read the next public hearing notice, please.
Notice is hereby given the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold at Town Hall 159 Panago Road, East Hampton on Tuesday, June 1st at 2 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard for the purposes of considering certain amendments to Chapter 82, Peace and Good Order, 86 Animals, 141 Fire Prevention, 151 Special Event Permits, 155 Landscaping and Gardening, 167 Littering and Dump Control, 185 Noise, 198 Peddling, 217 Streets and Sidewalks, 246 Waterways and Boats of the East Hampton Town Code. The full text of the proposed local law is available at the town clerk's office or on townclerk.com.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone wish to address the board on this matter? Do we have any callers on the line?
No, we do not.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to close?
Second. I
All in
apologize.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass carried. Carol, if you'd read hearing notice number 8.
Please take notice that the town board of the town of East Hampton held a public hearing on Thursday, June 1st at 2 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard to consider any and all comments in relationship to the proposed amendment to Chapter 240 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 24058, Schedule 8, stop intersections of the East Hampton Town Code to place stop signs at various intersections in town to enhance public safety, an abstract of which follows. An amendment to Chapter 240 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 24058, stop at intersections to provide for stop signs on various roads within the town of East Hampton as follows. It's a stop sign on Manor Road going west at the intersection with Fort Pond Road.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone wish to address the board on this public hearing? Entertain a motion.
Callers?
Do we have any callers?
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pass and carried. Public hearing number 9. Good
That was-
publishing issue. We'll move on to,
I think we're on to 11 now.
it's 24058, I believe, stop intersections.
I apologize.
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on Thursday, June 1st at 2 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard to consider any and all comments in relation to the proposed amendment to Chapter 240 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, 240, 27.2, Paid Parking at the East Hampton Airport, and Article 6, Permit Parking, Section 240-35, Paragraph A, Item 3, Daily Permits, an abstract of which follows. 240-27.2, Paid Parking at the East Hampton Airport shall be renamed Paid Parking. To broaden the provision of paid parking in other areas of the town and to provide for the adoption of differing fees and time periods for parking in different locations by resolution of the town board, and to add South Edison Street and South Elmwood Avenue, Montauk, to the list of properties for which paid parking is available. 240-35 permits, A3, daily parking permits is amended to add Kirk Park Beach, Montauk as a beach location for which daily parking permits are available during certain days, and to provide for daily permits to be available from mobile app if authorized of kiosk is provided at the location. Vehicles having a valid town parking permit shall not be required to pay daily fees.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone wish to address floor on this matter? We have any callers on the line?
We have no callers on the line.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passed and carried. We have one more.
We're good.
All good. Public portion.
Public portion.
Mr. Biddy, do you have anything you'd like to say to the town board at this time? Public portion. Again, I ask you to try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less.
No problem. I want to talk about one of my new favorite topics, pickleball. Resolution number 2023-795 on today's agenda would have you accept the bid to build what is being called the South Emery Pickleball Courts for the sum of $465,000. Although I understand that also includes a couple other small projects, a resurfacing of a basketball court in another location. This location actually appears to be within the bed of the street right-of-way of South Erie Avenue in Montauk, adjacent to the existing 2 public tennis courts located on a town-owned parcel at 10 South Erie Avenue. When I heard that plans were underway to build the first dedicated public pickleball courts in the town, I could not have been more pleased. However, for an exorbitant price tag of nearly $500,000, yielding but 2 pickleball courts, I have to ask you to press the pause button. The size of a pickleball court is about 1/3 that of a tennis court. When municipalities build new dedicated pickleball courts, they are usually built 4, 6, or even 8 at a time to maximize the economies of scale and to provide reasonable opportunities for the multitude of users. Here, the town is proposing to build only 2 courts, and because the location chosen is a very constrained and difficult one, the costs are unreasonably high. David Lease, council member, or your justice of the peace. I heard Hugh talking earlier.
Did he call me justice?
I think we're justices.
Councilman. David told me that, Mr. Lease told me that in this location, the grade must be increased substantially to meet the grade of the adjacent tennis courts. And also the plan requires the moving of existing drainage structures in the construction zone. And that another project, the resurfacing of basketball court near the skate park, is also included. Looking at the chosen location for the 2 new courts, I have to ask the following pertinent questions. Isn't there a more economical location to build new pickleball courts in town where the site preparation cost savings can be put into creating a significantly larger number of courts? 2, why would the town want to build courts in the middle of the roadbed of South Erie Avenue, cutting off the possibility of ever connecting South Erie Avenue to South Emery Street as originally mapped? 3, Will the construction of these courts impinge upon the nearby wetlands to the north and west? And has a wetlands delineation study been undertaken to determine the appropriateness of building in this constrained site? And 4, lastly, do the bid specs, which I have not seen, call for what is described as using post-tension concrete methodology and provide for a cushioned surface, which is how the best quality pickleball courts are built by builders who specialize in the construction of sports courts, which I do not believe appropriately describes the chosen bidder, Aventura Construction Corp. In short, I would like you to get the most bang for your buck for the benefit of the community. I don't mind being called frugal. I have made it my business to try to help people save money on their taxes when appropriate. So I think that you should look at this very carefully. Is it the best place? There have to be flat, unwet lands where the town could build the same dollar amount, more and better pickleball courts. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And there's no one else here for public comment?
Yeah, so David, just my response to the comments to that, it is post-tension. It was a closed bid. It was the lowest bid of a qualified bidder, as I mentioned to you. The skate park is also included in that as far as the basketball court, 4 basketball hoops on there, so we're increasing that. That's something that the board had discussed in the past, going to the same bid. We thought the economy of scale, because of location in Montauk, would help on that bid, because working in Montauk has an increased valuation many a times to contractors, because many contractors of this specialized nature aren't home based in Montauk also. That road has no intention of being opened up because of the proximity of the wetlands. That question has been researched by the engineers. And there is 2 other pickleball courts in that location, which makes that campus 4 courts. The tennis courts have striping for pickleball on it, so there is 4. There is mounding needed to make it level. We did think about adding or shoehorning 1 more in, but that would bring it closer to another residence, which we know isn't always appropriate. I do agree with you that we can add more at a better cost. I did contact the superintendent of the Shelter Island School District, who built, I believe, 6 over there on a very flat surface. The town is continuing to look at more locations. We thought this is one of the most, the best options that we had at this time, starting there. And we're trying our best to add more recreation, including pickleball, to the town of East Hampton. We also painted the courts in Springs just recently with pickleball courts. There's 3 more there. I know we're actively looking for more. So I hope that answers some of your questions.
It does, but there is one thing that I just thought of that I didn't mention, though I mentioned it to you. When you're building a sports court, almost invariably times, the courts are sited north-south so that the sun glare is not in the eyes of either side. And these courts are east-west. And frankly, looking at all of the various sports, pickleball courts, tennis courts that I've seen built, I can't find one that's built east-west. And the reason is because of the need to avoid sun glare. So I think that is a design issue.
I think it's more of a design, a siting constraint. There's not enough property that the municipality owns that we can have this recreational addition to, that we actually can look at the siting based on sun glare in Montauk right now. Most of the locations out there don't allow for that then too. We're trying our best on it. We're adding it there. There are the other 2 courts that are.
Where are the other 2?
They're right next. It's the same location, David. They're right
Those
there.
are the tennis courts.
That's correct.
Yeah, but those are painted, they are striped for pickleball.
That's correct. We're making it 4 if that was what the person wants to do. So that's why we're trying our best to keep these actions together, because we know there are groups of community members that like to play together. So that was one of the determinations to put it into this location, knowing the constraints and trying our best to increase recreational activities for the residents of East Hampton and Montauk. We'll keep looking at more, and that's a promise that I have to you.
Okay, and I'm sure everyone knows that there is a 2-inch difference in the height of the nets, so the net adjusters have to be functioning in order to adjust a tennis court net to make it appropriate for.
They've been rolling ones in there. There was a group out there that had roller ones that brought them into Montauk last week or such. David, feel free to contact me about that. It's a conversation piece I like talking about.
I mean, I could certainly help you find some spots in Springs or Stephen Hans Path, you know.
I got you. Yeah, sure. Call me.
Do we have any callers on the line?
We have no callers.
Okay, we'll move on to resolutions being offered. Kathy, you have the first, I believe.
I do, starting with Resolution 2023-769. It's approval of the warrant. Claims total $3,102,899.25. And the utility warrant totals $33,509.89.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carried.
2023-770 is a secret determination for bonds for the culvert replacement, and the town board finds the Old Stone Highway culvert replacement is outlined in the EAF, will not have any significant adverse environmental impacts, and a negative declaration pursuant to secret in Chapter 128 of the Town Code is hereby made by this board with regard to the proposed Old Stone Highway culvert replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carried.
771 is a secret determination for bonds for 300 Panago, and the town board finds that the proposed acquisition of an office condominium unit at 300 Panago Place, East Hampton, will not have any significant adverse environmental impacts, and a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA in Chapter 128 of the Town Code is hereby made by this board with regard to the proposed acquisition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carried.
772 is a bond for $400,000 for the Old Stone Highway culvert.
Second. Carol, would you please read roll call?
Aye.
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 Aye, pass and carried.
Resolution 2023-773 is a bond in the amount of $1,100,000 for the acquisition of Suite 109 at 300 Panago Place. This is a 1,536 square foot office space that's currently configured with a reception area and 9 offices of various sizes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carried.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
774 is to approve extended sick leave for an employee in the tax assessor's office, and this employee is eligible for up to 180 days at 1/2 pay, effective retroactive to May 24th, 2023.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
775 is a notice to bidders, EH 23-025. It's for kitchenware items and miscellaneous food for June 2023. The bid is available June 1st, and it's due back on June 15th.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
776 is to accept bid number EH 23-020. It's for the Montauk Playhouse HVAC improvements, Phase 1, and it goes to Eastern Industrial Services of New York for the total cost of $332,880, which will be taken from 2 fund lines.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
2023-777 is to amend resolution number 2023-682, ordinance inspectors to attend noise investigation course. The total cost will be $1,350 and will be paid from 2 different budget lines.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
778 is approval of various special event permits. We've got Gurney's Montauk Resort and Seawater Spa, Northwell Dinners, Wednesday and Thursday, June 7th and 8th from 6 to 10. Again, Gurney's East Hampton High School Banquet on Thursday, June 22nd from 6 to 10 p.m. Whalebone Project LLC and Inlet Seafood. This is their local surf event, and this is on Saturday, June 17th from 4:30 to 8:30. The Wounded Warrior Project Soldier Ride the Hamptons on various roads that starts and ends at the Amagansett Fire Department with overflow parking at 555 Montauk Highway. And this is for Saturday, July 15th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we've got the Travis J. Field Memorial Softball Tournament for their scholarship fund. And this is at the Terry King Ball Field, Thursday, August 3rd through Sunday, August 6th from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
779 is to amend Resolution 2023-714, and this is a change of budget line for the hiring part-time of D'Artagnan Laris.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
780 is to issue a check for a refund to Stephen Molderig in the amount of $15 for a recycling permit.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
781 is approval of special events for the arts at Duck Creek for 2023. This is for an artist talk, an Ola workshop, multiple concerts as part of their 2023 music education series, as well as multiple artist receptions and exhibitions that will be held through October 8th.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 2023-782 is an extension of the Springs Fireplace Road Corridor Study, and this is to hire the consultants Dodson and Flinker, Fine Arts and Sciences, and LK McLean Associates for a series of public presentations and meetings for the study team to present findings and recommendations to stakeholders, the public, citizen groups, and the town board, including information about existing and projected conditions and recommendations to mitigate potential adverse effects. And this is for an additional cost of $29,410.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Okay, I would like to offer Resolution 2023-783. This is a notice of public hearing to amend Chapter 240, Section 240-61, Schedule 11, parking prohibited at all times. These are in areas that are noted on Queens Lane. This is the hearing that was pulled from today. The new public hearing date will be June 15th, 2023 at 11 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Passed and carried. Just give me one of those, Carol.
784 is permissive referendum for the town of East Hampton to Diana Revere and Genesis Carino for 18 Stewart's Lane, East Hampton. Tax map 300-147-1-22.008, this is properties in the town's affordable housing program, was repurchased pursuant to the program by the authority of the Resolution 2021-794 and Resolution 2022-446. The town board authorized the sale of their improvements together with a long-term land lease to these individuals. The town and the purchaser wish to amend the previous approval of term sales and hereafter set forth. Now that the supervisor is hereby authorized to direct the subject to requirements of Article 7 of the New York State law requiring permissive referendum for a municipality to sell and or lease this property to be executed at the contract of sale for their improvements of 18 Stewart Lanes, East Hampton, at a revised purchase price of $389,492.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
786 is resolution subject to permissive referendum for the authorized sale of affordable housing to Melissa Anderson at 54 Tub Oarsman Road, East Hampton. This piece of property located at 54 Tub Oarsman Road, East Hampton, tax map 300-147-01-0134. Has been in the town's affordable housing program, was repurchased due to the resolution 2019-1203, where the town's housing and community development office has located a qualified purchaser of the property. The town proposes to sell the improvements at the lease cost of $261,576 with the assumption of the Suffolk County home lien of $116,570. Therefore, now be it resolved, the supervisor hereby authorized to direct the subject to requirements of Article 7 of the town law of the state of New York requiring permissive referendum for a municipality to sell or lease land to execute a contract of sale for the improvements at 54 Tub Oarsman Road, East Hampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
785 is a permissive referendum, affordable housing in the town of East Hampton to Piola and Gondola, and 19 Joshua Edwards Court, East Hampton. The town of East Hampton is owner of this property at 19 Joshua Edwards Court, and is tax map 300-144-0122. And the property is in the town's affordable housing program, and it was repurchased pursuant to Resolution 2020-933, and then 2022 Resolution 2022-539. The town board authorized the sale of the improvements altogether with a long-term land lease of the underlying property as part of the town's affordable housing program to Paula Agudelo. The town and the purchaser wish to amend the previously approved terms The lease term shall stay the same, being the annual sum equal to the amount of the property taxes, but therefore now let it be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to direct the subject to requirements of Article 7, the town law of the state of New York required permissive referendum for a municipality to sell or lease land to execute a contract of sale for their improvements at 19 Joshua Edwards Path, East Hampton, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass carried.
787 is to appoint seasonal lifeguards May 2023. This is retroactive to May 26, 2023 through September 16th, 2023 to the names, positions, and pay scales in the resolution below.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass carried.
788 is appoint seasonal lifeguard for June 2023, effective June 2nd, 2023 through September 16th, 2023. Lily Mongan, senior lifeguard at hourly rate of $17.75.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass carried.
789 is appoint seasonal employee in the Parks Department to custodial one in the Parks Department, hourly rate of $22, effective June 1st, 2023. Veronica Daniels.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass carried.
790 is appoint seasonal groundskeepers in the Parks Department, retroactive to May 15th, 2023. Robert Schneider, groundskeeper 1, $21, and Milton Lozano, groundskeeper 1, $21.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
791 is appoint temporary office assistant in the Housing Department, Jenny Munoz, hourly rate of $21.26 an hour. She has a 90-day period. 1 second. Yes. Okay. Be paid by budget leave for a 90-day period beginning June 12th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
792 is appoint seasonal park attendant in the recreational department, retroactive to May 27, 2023. Kevin Cardona, park attendant at $21 an hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
Moment. I'd like to offer resolution 2023-793. It's provisional appointment to environmental technician Ava Kiss. This would be, she has, whereas the Suffolk County Department of Human Services Personnel and Civil Services given the examination for environmental technician in accordance with the CSA. The position that was posted, Ms. Kiss would be provisional basis to a full-time position, environmental technician, aquaculture department at an hourly rate of $25.91, grade 22, starting step, which is a $53,894.67 for a 40-hour work week, effective June 5th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
794 is to approve East Hampton Trails Preservation Society's installation of part of the North Neck Trail on Town Nature Preserve at 72 Glenmore Ave and 22 North Fairfax Road in Montauk. They have proposed installing a new trail link, part of the North Neck Trail, with some short removal sections of boardwalks, whereas the Nature Preserve Committee and the Land Acquisition Department are supportive of the proposed trail link, which consists of approximately 500 feet in length.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
795 is the SEP bid EH23003, the South Emory pickleball courts to Aventura Construction, where the town solicited the bids through South Emory Pickleball Court EH23003. Aventura Construction hereby accepted the total cost for $465,000, broken out to two specific funding lines mentioned below.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion. Could we hold this off until Tuesday until we just get the breakdown? Was there in the response to this, did they break out the different costs for the basketball versus the pickleball?
Yes.
I think that would be helpful to just have that. We're doing $795 and just carry it over to Tuesday, just so we can get that information.
To answer that question, I believe it was $175,000 is what the basketball courts were for the surface.
What is the purpose of waiting, Kathy?
She just wants the line item broken out on the option for the basketball court, which was the basketball court, not just a resurfacing, it was a total reconstruction because of the deep gouges in there.
Right.
The basketball court, there was originally tennis courts that were made into a hockey rink
They're
and
recurring cracks in that.
yeah, but they're gouged, so they're going deep down there, and they're putting up 4 separate basketball hoops, 2 at 10 feet, 2 at 8 feet, and that was a separate option on there. We actually bonded an extra $25,000 to cover that because that portion came in higher initially. So that's why this has been waiting here. So that's the breakdown that's there. But it,
So we have a motion to table till Tuesday. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 796, extend contact EH Sag Harbor 21901 HVAC repair, service installation, McCloskey Mechanical Contractors. And this is for calendar year effective 2020, excuse me. This is just the contract extension that we went out for bid in EH Sag Harbor 21904. This takes us through July 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
797 is authorized payment of 2022 invoice for the Highway Department. This is for calendar year 2022 from the New York State DEC in the amount of $122.99.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pass and carried.
798 is retained DB Bennett for 44 Foxborough Road. This is which one?
44 Foxborough.
Okay. So we'll make a
Motion
motion
to
to table resolution 2023-798.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
2023-799 is authorized covenants and restrictions per the map of 395 Panago Road, Town Property, Suffolk County Tax Map 0300-189-1-4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
2023-800 is the Heinz authorized the CPF project plan addition. This is for a property located at tax map 300-63-2-4 and is located at 22 Farmhouse Lane, Springs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
801 is to authorize the CPF acquisition and amend the 2023 management and stewardship plan for the property located at 22 Farmhouse Lane, Springs, tax map 300-63-2-4. Purported owner is Marucha Hines. The purchase price is not to exceed $2.6 million.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
802 is Stir Tita LLC, authorized the CPF project plan addition. This property is located at tax map 300-5-21.1 and it's located at 67 Surf Drive, Amagansett.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
803 is Stir Tita LLC, authorized the CPF acquisition and amended 2023 management and stewardship plan. This property is 0.27 acres of land located at 67 Surf Drive, Amagansett. We had the public hearing
May 18th.
May 18th. Thank you very much. 2023. The purported purchase price is $800,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
804 is Arena authorized CPF acquisition and amend the 2023 management and stewardship plan. Purported owner is Andrew Arena. Location is 298 Gerard Drive, Springs. Tax map 300-64-1-7. It's approximately 0.5 acres of vacant land at 298 Gerard Drive, Springs. The purchase price is not to exceed $265,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried.
Yes.
What was the question?
Okay.
So we need a motion to.
On table.
Motion on table, resolution 2023-798.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to offer resolution 2023-798 to retain DB Bennett for 44 Foxborough Road, where we're in need of engineering services to evaluate the Carl Fisher House for design, development, and development of plans and specs and bidding. We've received a proposal dated March 12, 2023, an amount not to exceed $45,000 for this work.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass and carried. We're going to 85 now.
Sounds great. I'd like to offer resolution 2023-805 Greenie authorizes CPF acquisition and amend the 2023 management and stewardship plan. This is for a piece of property at 41 Upland Road, Montauk, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-48-3-12.2 is 2.5 acres of land. Owner is Patricia Greenie, and the purchase price is not to exceed $1,950,000.
Second.
I just have a discussion on this before we vote. This is, to the knowledge is that the town board did look at this piece of property for affordable housing, but based on topography of the land and some other evaluations, the town decides that we think open space is more appropriate for this property.
And I second again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 806 is a Avalon Park Reserve Management Plan authorization. We have the public hearing for the Avalon Park Preserve Management Plan on May 18th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
807, transfer from John B. M. Memorial Reserve and budget modification for the amount we're doing for Hampton signs and Franklin bronze plaques, a total not to for a total cost of $7,239.49.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
808 is a compensatory time payout for Eric Shantz, where Eric was appointed department head for the housing department on May 1st, 2023. He accrued compensatory time balance of 11 hours and 62 cents, amounting to a gross total of $580.51.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
And I have resolution 809, scheduled public hearing and notice of public hearing for grant of scenic conservation easement for Muhammad Grimmeth Living Trust. And take notice that the public hearing will take place on June 15th at 2023 at 11 a.m. To consider the scenic easement, conservation easement. The grantor is Muhammad Grimmeh Living Trust. This is at 425 Cranberry Hole Road, Namagansett, tax map number 300-128-1-32.1, and the reviewing agency of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 2023-810 is appoint temporary office assistant to the planning department and resolve that Jocelyn Kale Chimbo be and here she is hereby appointed to the position of temporary office assistant in the planning department at the hourly rate of $21.26 for a 90-day period beginning June 5th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 23-811 is to establish the standard workday and reporting for newly electeds, re-elected, and appointed officials for the New York State Retirement Fund system. This is where the New York State and local retirement system regulation requires employers to establish a standard workday for elected, appointed officials and circulate a number of days to report to retirement system for credit based on a sample calendar provided by these officials. Whereas the town has determined the standard workday for these employees is 6 hours, which means we all go home right now. And
Do we get extra credit beyond 6 hours?
isn't it
Because-
24/7? Copies of the attached form shall be posted on the town's website and the official signboard at Town Hall located at the entrance of the town clerk's office for 30 days after adoption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
23-812 is to transfer principal office assistant Danielle Peridin. This is where Danielle is a full-time principal office assistant in the planning department, has accepted an offer to transfer to the housing department. Resolved that Danielle Peridin will be transferred to the housing department at her current title. No change in weekly schedule or hourly rate effective June 5th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 2023-813 is a provisional appointment to planner for Daniel Gross, and this is whereas Civil Service has given an examination for the title of planner, and the town board has requested and canvassed a list of eligibles and has received less than 3 willing acceptors. Be it resolved that Daniel Gross be and is appointed on a provisional basis to the full-time position of planner in the planning department, an hourly rate of $27.86. That's grade 24 starting step. That's $57,956,000.50 for a 40-hour work week, effective June 12th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed, carried.
2023-814 is to attend a conference for the Department of Information Technology, and this is resolved that Natanya Ashley, Office Application Specialist, is authorized to attend the New York State Cybersecurity Training Conference to be held June 6th and June 7th, 2023 in Albany, and the town board authorizes expenses for the conference, registration fee and expenses according to a voucher properly submitted, and the expenses to include transportation, meals, etc., not to exceed $1,025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
And lastly, I have 2023-815, and this is to accept engineering design for the proposal ZEV charging stations and to retain LK McLean Associates. The town applied and was awarded New York State grant for zero emission vehicles grant, ZEV, to engineer and install 10 dual port level 2 charging stations at Town Hall. And LL McLean is to extended their contract to provide engineering services to the town on various town projects. Whereas LK McLean sent a proposal dated 5/22 to provide the necessary professional services to design the new electric service and 10 port level 2 charging stations. The cost is not to exceed $37,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. I believe you have one more, Kate.
Oh, I do have one more. That wasn't Leslie. And this is Resolution 2023-816, and this is to extend the contract, Town of East Hampton Energy Initiative Support Services for Renewable Energy Long Island, Inc. Whereas the town solicited a request in 2020 for the Town Energy Initiative Support Services, the town accepted the proposal of Renewable Energy Long Island and entered into agreement for 1 year that is renewable annually upon agreement of the parties for 4 additional 1-year terms. Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to execute an agreement renewing the Town of East Hampton Energy Initiative Support Services with Renewable Energy Long Island for a period of 1 year effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, under the same terms and conditions of the original contract.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed, carried. 2023-817 is to appoint principal account clerk, the finance division accounting. And that is John Liera, and that is for a 40-hour work week. $30.48 an hour, grade 27 starting step, $63,402.98 annually. And that is effective June 13th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed, carried. Resolution 818 is to appoint seasonal traffic control officer 2023. And this would be William McGuire at a rate of $16.25 an hour from May 28th through September 16th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 819 is to authorize acquisition of Suite 109, 300 Panago Place. And that is for a total of.
We have a typo in the fourth
Well,
result.
that's, yeah. See that, it's actually not just the fourth.
No.
It's,
It's
should be
it's
1 million.
It's 10%. If you read.
The
town
acquisition
shall
is for
provide
$1,090,000.
90,000.
90,000, sorry, $1,090,000.
Right. But
Do I have a second?
Second.
right. And the down payment is 10% of 109,000.
I apologize.
Second again.
All passed and carried.
Aye.
We didn't vote. Aye.
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 Aye. Passed and carried. Resolution 820 is authorized lease of Suite 109, 300 Panago Place. And that is a monthly rate of $5,160. And common charges not to exceed $7,326 for the year of 2023. The rent is not to exceed $30,960 for 23.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 821, extend contract EH 21-023, the annual contract for printing and miscellaneous forms, Montauk Printing and EOC Print LLC. And that is effective July 9th through July 8th of 24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 822 is to accept proposal RFP EH 2023-109 specialized bus service for Montauk 2023 Hampton Hopter LLC. And that is for 68 days at $2,350 per day for a total of $159,800.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 823 is to accept bid EH 23-022 T-shirts, sweatshirts, and other uniform items for 2023 ABC Custom Sales Incorporated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 824 is to amend resolution 2023-746, and that's resolved that Madison Liebman will be paid from a different budget account.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 825, approved license agreement with AT&T at 106 Stephen Hands Path. And that is for a $4,000 per month rate commencing on the date of installation of temporary tower.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 826 is authorized payment to Dime Abstract LLC for title certifications, and that's for a fee not to exceed $1,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 827 is notary renewal for Detective Sergeant Hogan, and that's for $60.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 828 is travel reimbursement for Arthur Scalzo. And that is for $599.07.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 829 is Joseph Riccardi reimbursement, and that is for an amount not to exceed $100, and that is for out-of-pocket uniform expenses.
I think it's 1,000.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
100.
No, $1,000, my
Second.
mistake. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 830 is a budget modification B fund, and that is moving money from contingency in the B fund in the amount of $38,286 to rent in the amount of $30,960 and common charges in the amount of $7,326.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 831 is to authorize payment to judicial title covenant recording fee. This is for field. And that is properties 211 Main Street, Amagansett, 265 Montauk Highway, Amagansett, 32 Main Street, Amagansett, 267 Main Street, East Hampton, 269 Montauk Highway in Amagansett. And that is in the total amount of $645.
Second.
I'm sorry, the total amount is actually $1,290, of which a portion of the voucher. So yeah, it's $645.
Second.
20 cents. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed carried. 832 is acceptance of a donation and budget modification. Resolved that the town hereby graciously accepts a donation amount of $10,000. And this would be for the police department, gifts and donations in the amount of $10,000. We're increasing that revenue line, and also expense account medical supplies in the amount of $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 833 is budget modification, housing department, moving from travel conferences and dues in the amount of $1,000 to office expense in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed, carried. 834 is a budget modification, finance department. It's moving from full-time salaries and A line 8,000 to advertising in the amount of $4,000 and subcontractor costs in the amount of $4,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Resolution 835 is a budget modification, Hampton Hopper Specialized Bus Service for 2023. And that is moving from $79,900 from contingency to subcontractor costs in the same amount and increasing the in revenue account interest on investments in the amount of $10,000 and state aid mortgage tax in the amount of $69,900 and subcontractor expenditure account code for subcontractor costs in the amount of $79,900.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 836 is to modify the agreement. I'm sorry?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion table.
Motion to table, resolution
836.
2023-836.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Resolution 837 is authorized down payment purchase of 20 boat headers lane.
Second.
That's,
Being too quick.
yeah, that's down payment to sellers in the amount of $10,000 prior to closing. And the town board authorizes the issuance of funds in that amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed, carried. 838 is accept L.K. McLean proposal, Amagansett Historic Lighting Feasibility Study. And that is in the amount not to exceed $16,200.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carry. We do have some additional resolutions to offer. David, I think you have the first.
Resolution 2023-839, appoint seasonal lifeguards for May 2023, retroactive to May 5th, 2023 through September 16th, 2023, individuals, titles, and salaries mentioned here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carried.
840 is appoint seasonal lifeguard for May 2023, Ava Jacklich, pay lifeguard, hourly rate is $17.25, retroactive to May 25th, 2023 through September 16th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass and carried.
And I have Resolution 2023-841, and this is a hearing that we had today. This is to adopt local laws amending various chapters of the East Hampton Town Code relating to the Administrative Bureau. And this is whereas after considering the proposed local law and comments received at the time of the hearing, the town board believes that the adoption of the proposed local law is in the best interests of the town. Whereas the adoption of the proposed local law is a type 2 action pursuant to New York State and Quality Review Act, and resolve that the proposed local law is hereby adopted as follows. And this is a local law providing for certain amendments to various chapters of the East Hampton Town Code relating to the Administrative Bureau fines and penalties. And the full list of the amendments is in the resolution. And this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to municipal home rule law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
I have a resolution ID number 29587. This is establish a leave bank share time for highway department employee. At the request of the department head, Stephen Lynch, beginning pay period number 12, leave bank will be monitored and accounted for by the town budget office in coordination with the finance department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. I have resolution ID 29588, amend resolution number 2023-754 to authorize the purchase of home in Whalebone Woods at 20 boat headers. Whereas resolution 2023-754 is to be amended to read as follows. Whereas the town has been notified that Wayne McQuinski and Linda McQuinski, owners of the home constructed at the town's affordable housing program at 20 Boat Headers Lane, East Hampton, New York, are selling their home. And whereas the town has the right of first purchase and right of recapture equal to 60% of the appraised value of the land, whereas the appraisals of the property have been obtained in its current condition in the state of repair, and whereas the premises have been offered to the town at a cost not to exceed at a cost of $351,000, and whereas the town is desirous of maintaining the property as part of its affordable housing program and wishes to acquire full ownership in the property, now Therefore, be it resolved, the supervisors authorized to enter into contract subject to the approval of the town attorney to purchase the property currently owned by Wayne McQuinski and Linda McQuinski located at 20 Boaters Lane, East Hampton, at a total cost of the town $351,000, consisting of the purchase price of the property of $275,000 plus a sum to be applied to satisfaction of all liens, judgments, and other UCC filings not to exceed $76,000 required to deliver clear title plus reasonable closing costs, including survey and title costs to be paid from a CM account. Be it further resolved, the following budget modification is hereby approved to effectuate the same, and that is an increase in sales of property by $355,000 and increase the purchase of real property by the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Are there any other resolutions to offer? Folks may have noticed that Council Member Sylvia Overby has not been present for the last couple of meetings. Council Member Overby's had an unexpected serious medical diagnosis. She appreciates the good wishes that she has received from close friends, but asks for privacy as she gets medical treatment this summer. She will participate in town duties as much as possible in person or by Zoom. We look forward to Sylvia's full recovery and wish her the very best as she faces this most recent challenge.
Second.
At this point, welcome, Rob. Yes, welcome, Rob Connolly, our new town attorney. John Jolnicki will be staying on as senior attorney. John, and welcome aboard, and we're very happy to have you here.
I'd like to make a motion to go in exec session to discuss personnel and get advice of Labor Council.
Second. I believe you also have a contract discussion.
And add that in second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.